Clark County property taxes went up an average of 3.4% last year, which might seem like a little bit, but when it comes to inflation, not so much. And the good news is if you have a primary residence in Clark County, then the maximum the tax can actually go up is 3%. If you own a secondary or a rental property, an investment property, then it can go up at a cap of 8%. So even if inflation goes beyond that, you're still capped at 3% or 8%. Now, something that's really, really critical is for you to check your property taxes. You can do that on the Clark County Treasurer's page, and you can see if it's a primary residence, it could say 8%. And in that case, you need to actually write in. They send a card that's a little bit discreet in the mail every couple of years for you to actually validate that it's still a primary residence. Otherwise, they'll default it back to an investment property or a secondary residence. When they do that, you might actually go up 8%. And that's a pretty big difference. If your taxes right now are, let's say, $3,000 on your house, going up 3% is $90. Going up 8% is $240. You start compounding that because the following year, you'd be going up 3,000 or 3% on $3,090 versus going up 8% on $3,240. So again, that can be a pretty big difference from a runaway standpoint. Now, we're 44th in the nation when it comes to property taxes. So we have pretty low property taxes, which is why a lot of people move here. I mean, state income tax, lower property taxes, there's a lot of reasons. Now, I know there's arguments about funding schools and everything else, and there's other areas that schools get funded from, but all in all, our property taxes are pretty low. Now, here's a bit of information that a lot of people don't know about property taxes, is where you can actually get some exemptions. And if you are a qualifying veteran that served during any wartime period, whether that was the Vietnam War, or World War II, the Korean War, the Gulf War, which is still open-ended. They actually haven't closed that one out. So basically anybody that served from 1990 till now, there is an exemption. It's not a huge one, but it's a few $1,000s. And then disabled vets. And depending on the level of disablement awarded, you send that certificate in, and that changes your property taxes as well, with some pretty significant exemptions, starting at 60% disabled, and then it goes up. And when you're at 100% disabled, it's a pretty significant reduction. There's also an exemption for people that are deemed legally blind. So there's a blind exemption, and that's another good one to know. And I've got to tell you, I've spoken to a lot of people that are veterans, a lot of disabled vets that didn't know that there were these exemptions. They know that there's some benefits for them through the VA with loans and waivers of funding fees, but they did not know that the county actually grants certain exemptions and reductions in property taxes, which is a wonderful thing. So if you happen to know a veteran, whether they're disabled or not, maybe they served during a wartime period and they're eligible,